I didn't think they were difficult instructions. I speak slower.
Well, I thought if one worked, it would work in reverse, so I didn't know you wanted to double check both. All right. So, welcome back. We are up to our fourth podcast now. In this particular episode, we are going to be discussing our favorite movies within particular categories. Action, adventure, sci-fi, horror, drama slash true, just drama, true story slash documentary, and suspense thriller, I believe, are the categories that we're going to be doing, and comedy.
Yep.
Can't forget that one.
Nope.
So, we'll give some honorable mentions, talk about movies that we love and why, and hopefully you'll stick around and watch it.
Too bad.
Hey, too bad.
And hey, look, it's recording.
Yeah, fucker, it better be. Now I gotta go through the stories all again.
Yeah, but they'll be better. They weren't that interesting. The first time it wasn't that interesting, so we didn't really lose a lot. I was unprepared. I didn't know what movies.
So it's not that we were uninteresting. It's just that you came off as not doing your homework, basically.
Yeah, but you said you didn't do yours either.
Oh, no, I had it all written down, see?
Oh, that's right. You had yours.
And that's right.
Yeah.
And I still, look, you're talking about an expert last-minute worker. I was a king procrastinator at school. I once did a 17-page statics paper in a night. Didn't sleep.
Statistics?
Statics.
And what is that? I don't remember that class.
So you didn't have it. It was architectural.
Oh.
So it's static forces. So it's kind of like statistics, but
yeah. Because I actually took statistics, and I'm like, I don't remember having to write a paper for that.
Oh no! So you had to actually write a paper with all the math and everything about a structure, and in terms of like there's these books just full of calculations in terms of where you live in the zone and your wind forces that it's got to be able to handle for that area, and like snowfall, and it's just an insane amount of math.
Gotcha. That sounds fun.
Yeah, no. Got a C+ on it though, which I was impressed with because it was a quarter type project, so it was like it was like a 6-week project that people were supposed to be working on.
Well, that was like physics for me. The only reason I passed physics was because I knew in the equation, I knew this number went there and this, but I didn't know why. I just know in this formula, that number goes here and that number goes there. And yeah, I was surprised I passed with a C.
Yeah, so if you mix like physics, calculus, and statistics, you would have statics.
No, thank you. Makes my head hurt just thinking about it. And I was good at math.
Well, actually, I was too. It was one of my better subjects. And actually, we had a couple of 4.0 students who, like, actually, I felt really proud. They included me in the study group. They're like, hey, you want to join our study group? I'm like, fuck yeah.
Why? I don't study.
Oh, man, I had to for that class.
Yeah.
Holy shit. All right. So.
All right. So, round 2 of our favorite picks.
Take 2.
Take 2. That would be the round. That would be the round 2 part.
Yeah, but in terms of movies, it's called takes.
Yes, I realize.
Well, that's what I thought, but when you went into the whole description about, well, I meant by round. So I understand, but it doesn't fit.
But you repeated what I said, just said it differently.
And more aptly, I would say. Because we are discussing movies.
Touche. You got to be wrong somewhere in there. I'll find it. Give me a minute.
I'll go back. I'll watch the tape.
Watch it again. I can re-edit this fucker so you're wrong.
He has placed the timeline. Be like, why does he keep jogging all over the place?
Why does Chris's voice sound like Jerry saying? So what'd you have for your comedy? I forget from the first
Okay,
time.
so let's start this for take two.
Take two.
So for I had a couple of honorable mentions I had to put in there, and for comedy, I'm kind of going back a ways. I mean, there's some current comedies that are great, but Uncle Buck is one I've always loved. Caddyshack, obvious classic. But for me, I think my all-time favorite was Porky's.
Yes.
Yes. And there's just so many scenes in it that are just, I find just so funny, but partly also because I was like, gosh, I think 12 or 13, and we're at my uncle's house, and my mom and all the aunts went out shopping, and so my uncle says to my dad, "Hey, you ever seen Porky's?" And my dad's like, "No." He's like, "Oh, we got to watch that, but you need to send the little ones out." And Dad looks down, and he's like, "Why?" He goes, "Well, it's R." He goes, "It's fine. Don't worry about it. You're not going to tell your mom, right?" "Oh, no.
Oh, no.
So I just remember rolling on the floor laughing. I mean, we all were. So it just, again, it's nostalgic, but it still is I think a comedy that lasts today. So
yeah, absolutely. The I don't know if you still call it toilet humor, but the sexual nature of it all is kind of timeless with the humor.
Yeah, without actually doing anything really.
Yeah.
They get the point across.
Yeah, all I really remember was them sticking their penises in through a hole in the wall, and the gym teacher. The gym teacher comes over and grabs
Beulah.
He gets pulled up against the wall.
Oh yeah, there's a classic scene.
Well, she's describing it to the dean, in all seriousness, and the freaking kid that is just losing it.
The assistant coach, yes.
I remember the mole on it or something. Yeah.
He goes, can we please call it a tallywhacker?
That's right. Yeah.
So that was mine. Again, there's Bringing Down the House is a current one that's hilarious. Queen Latifah, Steve Martin.
Yes.
Yeah, that was another current one that is really good too. But I think, again, my all-time favorites.
Is that Eugene Levy in that?
Yes.
You got me straight tripping, boo. Yeah, he's
you got me all twisted up in the game.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, so what do you got?
Well, for me, like you said, honorable mentions. I'm trying to remember what my favorite was, but Ace Ventura definitely. When I first saw that, I saw it with Dad in the theater, and I just remember cracking up. We both laughed so hard when he's delivering the package to that woman. She's like, "Oh well, I guess I should give you a reward or whatever," and starts taking his pants off, and he's swinging. Whoa, people are sure friendly around here. We were laughing so hard. My other favorite comedy, and it's a dark comedy, is Tucker and Dale versus Evil. Kathy and I watched that for the first time just a few years ago, and we hadn't seen it. And oh my God, we belly laughed so hard at one scene that we were crying. We were laughing so hard when actually there was a couple of scenes. That's what I just love about that movie. When he's out. He's cutting up a log, and he cuts into a beehive, and all the bees obviously start coming out and stinging him, or a wasp's nest or something. And he goes in and describes it to Tucker, and he's like, "What happened to you?" And he's like, "Cut my chainsaw cut through a bee's nest." And he's like, "Why?" And he's like, "I didn't do it on purpose." And then when one of the college kids, he's hooked himself right into the wood chipper. Have you seen this? I don't even know if you've seen this film. Okay.
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
I mean, it's so well done because it's filmed like a horror, but it's hysterical.
Yeah.
So that I think is my favorite comedy, even though it's a kind of a horror, it's a dark comedy.
It's not a horror, but yeah, it's a
No, it's
spoof.
considered a dark comedy. So
Yeah.
it's the horror element without the horror. Well, sort of. You still get blood and guts and stuff, and it's just filmed so well, like a horror, but it's just so funny. My other honorable mention is Brain Donors, with
Oh yeah,
our boy there, Bob
Nelson.
Nelson.
I had to remind you the last time too.
Yes, you did.
But you kept with the same favorite, so that's a good.
Yes,
that's a good thing.
yes. Bob Nelson. I'm blanking on the other guy's name from Transformers and Mr. Deeds, and you underestimate.
Yeah, Section 7 guy.
Yes,
John
Turturro.
Tutorial.
Yeah, and it's kind of a Marx Brother kind of film where he's kind of like playing Mark. I'm gonna get it wrong. I'm getting it all wrong. Anyway, it's hysterical.
Typical.
And just crack me up. It's kind of a B film. Not many people have seen it, but I found it and loved it. And we love Bob Nelson anyway from his stand-up.
Oh yeah.
The toilet paper. So yeah.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that. Like with Dale and Tucker, you just had found it on the rack there. Long after it come out.
Yeah, I think I don't remember if we
like that
it.
for us was Noises Off. We had never heard of it.
That is a good one.
And we just like, let's rent this one tonight. And we ended up loving it. And it's back, of course, this is VHS, so years ago.
Right.
But it was one I never heard about in the theater or anything.
Wow. I didn't realize it was that old.
Yeah. John Ritter was in it. And
John Ritter, Michael Caine, Christopher Reeves.
Yep.
The other two actors are relatively famous too, and I can't remember their names.
I can't. I'm blanking on that part, but that was another good one. But all right, so moving on because
we'll spend all day on this.
Yeah,
action adventure.
Action. All right. Why don't you go first with this one?
All right. Well, I do have to say, I'm trying to think. Honorable mention for me is National Treasure with Nick Cage. I thought it was very well done, which is fits really well into my pick for my favorite action adventure because it's Indiana Jones, and I feel pretty much all of them, but the first one is my favorite, Raiders of the Lost Ark. Temple of Doom, I was kind of so-so about. The third one is more. I like that one more than the second one.
Agreed.
But I felt National Treasure was very Indiana Jones like. They're searching for something. He's kind of an archaeologist. You got puzzles they got to figure out how to find the other pieces, and
it was just a modern take on it, which I thought they did an excellent job.
And there were two of them, and I thought they both were very well done. So
Book of Secrets was the second
one. And I thought that was
I love Riley in those movies.
Oh yes, he's great.
He is. He's like, neither of you have read my book.
Yes.
He's like, well, I got it here somewhere.
Yeah. And he figures one of the clues out, and he's talking to both Nick Cage and I forget the woman's name, but he's like, you guys don't know this? And he's like, boys, he says, this is how you guys feel all the time. And then they're
like, Riley,
just say it. Yeah, and he's like, okay.
He's pretty awesome in that.
Yeah, he's a good sidekick.
Oh yeah, no, definitely great comic relief. But I really enjoyed those. That was another one. I didn't see the first one at the theater.
Oh,
I saw it on video or HBO or something. I was like, man, I love this. I like anyone that can take a fictional story but wrap it in history.
Yeah.
It
gives you that
to the point where you go,
gives you that element of truth, and you're like, hey, connecting things together. I mean, kind of like the Matrix we talked about last time, where they use elements of um, like deja vu. They explain deja vu in the Matrix, you know. So
in
you're
their
like,
way, yeah.
oh, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So with action adventure, I kind of went with some newer ones. I absolutely loved the Expendable movies. I'm gonna give them honorable mention. Again, Raiders was another classic. But I just thought the Expendables was just kind of, it was really great to see them kind of making fun of themselves, but not.
Yeah.
Like,
Poking fun.
Yeah, poking fun, but not. I mean, they were actually, they're all been really, really decent. I like them all a lot. But John Wick, definitely probably my favorite action adventure. I just love Keanu in that role. I mean, he just pulls it off beautifully, and they all have been awesome. So yeah, that definitely would be my pick for action adventure.
Oh, absolutely. There was somebody on Facebook, well, one of my friends was talking about how they hadn't seen the third one, and they kind of were poking fun out of it. They're like, "How many dogs does he have?" You know, like they killed the dog in the first one, and spoiler alert. And then someone said, "Oh, I think the next one's a cat," and so
that would have sucked.
But the third one I was really impressed with because there was a lot of knives, you know, where he shoots everybody in the first two. There was a lot of knives in the it's very stabby third
well,
edition.
they're out of country, so
yeah.
So next we're on to, I think, drama.
Yeah.
Okay. So drama's one of my harder ones. I don't particularly love dramas in general.
Right.
But for me, honorable mentions, stuff like Lean on Me, Dangerous Minds. My favorite was the Principal.
Oh, right.
Yeah, with James Belushi, Louis Gossett Jr. I loved it. It's a little older. Of course, we're old, so you know.
Right.
But yeah, that would definitely be my pick for my favorite drama.
Nice. Yeah, no, that is a good one. I had to look up one that is definitely honorable mention for me. I'm blanking on the name of it, but I know it's Crash. Yes. So for me, sorry, were you done?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. So Crash was really well done. You have to be careful because there's two Crash movies.
Well, I was gonna say, I'm like, I'm not sure that's a drama.
Yeah, you're thinking about the one I was, where the guy's having sex with the girl in the front seat, and it's called Crash.
Because that's really weird.
Yeah, that one I'm like, this isn't Crash. This isn't the movie I remember. Because it's a different one. I would have remembered that scene. But no, the one I'm talking about is the one with Sandra Bullock and Brendan Fraser and Kathy's favorite, Mike.
I can't help you because I don't think
I got it right on the tip of my tongue. I can see his face. Anyway, it's a drama. Don Cheadle's in it. There's a lot of Michael Pena. That's the one I couldn't remember.
Oh.
Very well done. If you haven't seen it, you definitely got to watch it because even though it's a drama, I think you'd really like it. It's when Flamingo Kid was in it. I'm bad with names. That's why I got to write these things down ahead of time. Anyway, it's jam-packed full of actors, and it's an amazing drama because it's very real. As dramas typically are, but like I forget all the elements of the movie, but they all like touch each other. Like when you see the opening scene, there's a couple of characters in it, and I can't remember if that's how it opens, but like Don Cheadle's character and another guy are walking down the street, and they're kind of talking about racism and how I think they're kind of like, how people are crossing the street so they don't have to walk by them and stuff like that. And Sandra Bullock and her husband are walking by them and ended up getting like mugged by them. And it's very dramatic. And then later you find out, I think their lives cross again, and like Michael Pena.
Yeah, there's
There's a very racial tension to the whole film.
yeah.
Like Michael Pena is changing the doorknob on somebody's house. On Sandra Bullock's house, and uh, she's being very afraid that he's going to steal something, or something like that. And she's arguing with her husband, and he's just out of earshot, and it's just
Right.
very awkward. And then what's his name from the Flamingo Kid that I'm blanking on, is like he's like racist, and
Right.
but then you see him as an asshole, and then you go see, oh well, his dad is I forget exactly what's wrong with him, but he's got to help him to the toilet, and he's just he has a really rough time with his dad, and he's trying to get him help, and he's going to uh, this clinic or whatever, and they can't help him because he doesn't have insurance or something like that. And it's just and he ends up going off on this woman. Anyway, it's a very hard film to kind of watch, but it's also so well done, and
Yeah.
their lives seem to intermix.
Yeah, there's a few movies like that where they'll have one leading to another, and it kind of how they were all interconnected.
Yeah, it's so well written. But anyway, that one, I I normally would say something like if I were to pick one modern, that would be my favorite drama. But if I go back to one of the, it's kind of a musical, but I believe it's classified as a drama, is Man of La Mancha. Not a lot of people have seen it, but it's the story of Don Quixote and chasing windmills, and it's a little slow in the beginning, so it's a little hard to get into if you haven't seen it before, because so many movies you can't, people don't make it past a slow beginning of a movie anymore. But once it gets going, it's so powerful, and the music and his performance, Peter O'Toole, and again, I can see her face, and I know her name, but it's Sophia Loren. Um, it's just so magical and powerful, the story, and it's very real, and it's comical. It's everything you want in like a drama, and that has always been one of my favorite movies, just mostly because of the power you feel from the music and the performances. Follow That Star. That's probably not the name of it, but um, To Reach the Unreachable Star. You probably heard the song if you haven't seen the movie, but
maybe.
Very, very well done. It's just has always been one of my favorites.
Yeah. Okay. So we did this other one's a little kind of different. We did, I believe it was documentary / true story.
True story. Yep.
Because I don't watch very many documentaries,
Right.
just in general.
Yeah.
So we kind of melded it with a true story, because I watch more of those that like movies based on.
Right. Well, I think we also talked about how true story, because there's so many found footage films. They're not necessarily true stories per se, but they're supposed to be like that. So it depends on what you want to categorize it. But there's a wide scope of documentaries out there. For me, most recently we watched Tiger King. And I think we talked. You hadn't seen that, but it's such a train wreck.
No, I have way too many other things to do.
But it's so comical to watch, and just the personalities and the people, you kind of like, you kind of root for him and stuff, and it's, like I said, it's like a train wreck. You just can't look away once you start watching it. So it's kind of a guilty pleasure. But I hear they're making it into a. I think they're making it into a like a
Miniseries or something.
like a movie where different actors are going to play, them or
Right.
something like that. But I forget where I heard that. It's a possibility, but yeah, I'm trying to think because I'm not a big fan of documentaries, but if you lump slash found footage films, I didn't like them at first. Like I hated Cloverfield. I cannot get into that. Did you ever see that one?
No, I remember the previews, but did not
Yeah,
watch it.
yeah. Well, it was one of the first, shaky cam and everything's recorded. You know what I mean by found footage, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the Blair Witch.
Yeah, exactly. And one I really like that I think you should watch because I think you would enjoy it is called Hell House Inc. And you can find it. I don't know if you have Shudder. I think that's where I've seen it. I can't remember if it's on
No.
Netflix or not. But Hell House Inc. They have the first one, the second, and the third. The first two were good. The third one's kind of meh, but we enjoyed it anyway because we'd watched the first two, and one plays on the other kind of thing. But yeah, the first one actually was really creepy. They did a really good job in how they worked the tension, and it wasn't predictable, and it really had a creep to it. So I think you'd like it. But that would be probably one of my favorites.
Okay. Yeah, I went with Rudy. Whenever I see that on, if I'm flipping channels, I gotta stop and watch it. It's just one of those feel good stories. And the thing I love about that one, um, Sean Astin actually plays Rudiger.
That's right.
Um, and it's not like this, I mean, obviously these feel good stories and such, but it's based on true story. And like the whole summation of the movie is like he just wants to show his dad that he played on the Notre Dame football team.
Right.
And the big thing is you're not actually listed as being on the team unless you actually play a down in a game. So he goes through year after year, practice squad, day in and day out, just giving it as everything. And he's this little 5'0" guy, but he's just got the heart of a lion, and he just fights through it all and perseveres. And that's his goal. I mean, that's this big thing. That's all he wants. And by the end of the movie, you're just cheering for him to get it.
Right. Yeah, I've never seen it. I'm gonna have to have Kathy
Oh
watch
my
that
gosh!
because we talked about it obviously last time when I didn't record. But yeah, no, I had take two. We'll have to watch it.
Yeah,
so that
it's
way we can circle back,
definitely
talk about it.
excellent movie. So suspense thriller.
Yep.
All right, why don't you take, or did you?
I went first on the last one. You go ahead.
Okay. All right. So on this one is another large category with a lot of them in it. I kind of have my honorable mention in this one. I kind of go with Sixth Sense. Absolutely loved it. It was a great movie. It's one of those great twists. But again, it's one of those movies. It was a great movie, phenomenal. But once you see it and you know the big twist, it's like, how many times can you really watch it? I mean, they did a great job with it and everything, but
you can probably watch it a couple more times because now you're like, oh, you get to go back and watch what you didn't know the time before. But yeah, after a while, you'd have to go a long time without seeing it.
Yeah. And so for me, I went with Silence of the Lambs. Because I just thought it was amazing. And again, we had discussed this last time a little bit, how Hannibal, the character, commanded so much of that movie, but is actually in it very little.
Yeah, you were saying that.
Yeah, and again, I still didn't go and look it up. But he's only on screen. It's like a minute or two of the movie or something. Or it's a very small amount in terms of the whole movie.
Well, sometimes I think she's even talking to him on the phone, and I don't know if you see him then. It's been a while since I've seen it. But, so if she's just talking to him on the phone, he's not actually on the screen. So, it's even less.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just, yeah, I think because that was just, and it's one of those you can go back to and watch.
Absolutely.
Again and again, because his,
Yep.
Anthony Hopkins' performance was phenomenal. So he just brought a creepiness. I mean, he just got it to the point where just his voice was like, he just had a way of creating that character and making him come alive.
Yeah. Well, for certain, some people have voices. Like Anthony Hopkins is definitely, Jack Nicholson is definitely one of those people that has just that perfect voice for certain types of characters, and the way he, says his lines, and the acting is just, you're just like drawn in. Morgan Freeman has, you could listen to him read the phone book. He's just got that very educated sound.
Refined,
Yeah, refined. It's a good word. Did you look that up? I'm going to use refine in a sentence today.
Just, you don't have to feel bad. It's okay. I have a large vocabulary. I read a lot.
All right.
Versus, you're not going to get much of a vocabulary watching Tiger King. Just saying.
All you do is just not anything you want to repeat. For me, suspense thriller, I definitely, Sixth Sense was the first thing that came to mind. I'm not sure if it's my favorite. I'm trying to think of other ones in the category, and I try to separate it from horror because obviously we have that as a separate.
Yeah, there's a fine line. Again, Silence, I thought, was much more of a psychological thriller. I mean, there was stuff happening in it, but really not much in the way of gore or killing, really.
No,
it was here and there, but
no. So Sixth Sense is definitely for me. We talked about it a little bit, but I didn't see it coming. Some people say they, you could saw the.
Oh yeah, we had that whole conversation.
Yeah, where I honestly did not know until the ring dropped and hit the floor and started to roll, and I'm like, the light bulb went off. It just totally blew me away. And obviously, like you said, subsequent watching, and then seeing a little bit from M. Night Shyamalan's discussion of the film and how he thought he was making it too obvious. That all the red and her in the red dress, the red doorknob. I forget there was red somewhere else too, but he really used red as when the character was in his most angst, I think, or and just sitting there opening, he set it up so well that he's sitting there like they're both like he'd been there a while, and like he had talked to the mom, and they were just waiting for the boy to come home. And then when he does, the mom kind of goes and greets him, and they have their back and forth, and then she goes off to the kitchen, and he's left alone with Malcolm, I think is his name. And it's just so surreal because you feel like, oh yeah, he was just sitting there waiting, and there's and then you realize later, oh my God, he was dead then. He was just sitting in the room waiting for him.
Yeah, well, and that's like you said. So yeah, you can watch it one or two more and just see how well they told the stories from a cinematic view to make it meld like that, to make you actually believe he's alive.
Yeah.
And like you said, till close to the very end, most people, let's just say, who did not see it coming.
No,
you're always going to have those. Oh, I knew it. 3 minutes in, sure.
Right. Yeah, no, especially when there's nothing that really gives that away. I mean,
right.
Maybe when he says, "I see dead people," maybe the thought crosses your mind a little bit. Oh, is he one of the dead people? But for me, it totally didn't.
It would be so far out there. Yeah. I mean, whatever. Some people think that way, I guess. But
But it was like you said, the setup was done really well, where the
Yeah.
little boy is struggling to confide in this doctor that he's seeing and talking to, and um, he's struggling to tell him, and then he's like, I think I'm ready to tell you my secret now. And you're totally caught up in the moment that you don't
Yes.
think about what he's saying as being
The
plausible.
ramifications. Yep.
Yeah.
Other word.
All right, Chris gets 2 stars, gold stars today. I'm gonna have to superimpose. Ooh.
Little things dinging up.
Jerry used all regular words.
He's gonna get off and cry in his cereal. He made me look bad.
Again. You forgot the again. So yeah, I really can't think of any other suspense thrillers because again, my brain crosses into the horror genre that I really like.
There were some older ones too, like Primal Fear.
Yeah.
It's a really good one. There's a lot of them out there, but for me, Silence of the Lambs, like I said, just because
that is a very good
it has that longevity. Like you can go back to it every year or every 2 years or whatever and watch it and still just enjoy it. But
yeah, absolutely.
All right. On to horror.
Yep. All right. So horror, I can't remember what I picked as my favorite, so I'll just kind of go through the honorable mentions, and it's probably in there somewhere. But The Conjuring, I got to say probably the first one in all of these series. I've liked them all, but I haven't seen some of them in like The Conjuring. I can't remember because I know that kind of phased into the Annabelle thing, and then
that was horrible.
No, see, I liked it. It wasn't.
I know.
Skipping around a lot, but the reason I kind of liked the Annabelle series was because at the time I was writing, and I can't remember when it came out, but I was writing and producing my film Where Is She, which had a doll in it, and it had a closet. One of the films, the little girl like hid in a closet under the stairs, and that was kind of like my idea. And I was just like seeing all the parallels, and it had a big doll house in it, and I'm just like, they stole my idea. But obviously much better done than my film, but I digress.
See, I would disagree then, because I saw Annabelle and I was not impressed at all.
But it's because you're a good friend.
No, I know. Walking out of the theater, you're going, oh, and I'm like, oh, that was so horrible. Because I remember Hunter wanting to go because Hunter kind of has my love of horror movies, except she gets really, really scared.
Yeah.
And she's the one that talked me into going to that. And I think that was on a whim that we ended up going to the same one.
Yes, because we wanted to see it. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, again, I pick on my own film because I can, and it's mine. But no, I'm still very proud of what we did. And
absolutely.
And I don't compare it to mainstream Hollywood because I'm independent.
No, it's totally different. Yeah. So Conjuring.
Yeah. So Conjuring and Sinister, I really enjoyed. I only saw that one once, and it was a while ago, but I remember thinking it was well done as a horror. And then the subsequent Conjuring films, and then I think it even led you to The Nun, which again, I thought the scariest part they show you in the trailer of the film for The Nun, and which I thought was a great jump scare kind of thing. Did you see The Nun?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, it's typical because she's being followed by something down this catacomb type underground hallway, and she kind of stops and she looks back, and it's supposed to be back there, and you don't see it, or because they don't really show you what she sees when she turns around, I think. And then she starts to walk, and I think you assume it's either going to be in front of her, like any typical film, jump scare that's been done 100 times. You look back and then you turn around and there it is. But you know they're not going to do that. So you're like, okay, she's probably going to walk a little more, but she walks by an intersection, and then the nun comes out of the intersection sideways toward her. And you don't expect that, or at least I didn't.
Yeah.
But you saw it in the trailer. So
Oh.
it wasn't, there was nothing that startled me in the movie like it
It
would
lost
have.
its effect
Yeah,
because
it
of
kind
that.
of lost that because I kept waiting. I'm like, oh, that was a really good thing they did there, but that was the best scene in the movie. Um, so, you know, I only saw it the one time, so I'm not berating it by any means. I think we enjoyed it. I thought it was well done. Um, but anyway, there's a lot of that genre, or sorry, a lot of those, the Sinister, the Conjuring, which turns into Annabelle, and then the Nun. We really enjoyed all of those. um Classic wise, oh, now I remember. Classic wise, I think I went back to some older films like American Werewolf in London.
Yes, you
um
did actually.
that was just, you know, inspiring, or you know, it was like the first of its kind. And it came out, I can't remember which one came out first. They both came out the same year, but The Howling. My dad, I remember taking me to see The Howling, and I think that
Yeah.
came out before American Werewolf in London.
I believe so. I think The Howling was your favorite, is what you had picked.
Well, it wasn't my favorite, but I remember
No?
telling the story that at the time, the only thing you had before that, I think, was maybe Silver Bullet. I don't remember when that came out, but I never really saw
Yeah,
that.
Silver Bullet was before.
Yeah, and you only had like Long Chaney Jr.'s transformation as a Wolfman, so there wasn't anything really scary. This had such intense metamorphosis, and becoming the like in American Werewolf in London, becoming a werewolf was very painful, but
Yes.
it was very gruesome in The Howling. And I remember being like, I think I was like 8 or 9 or something like that. And my dad had no idea it was going to be so graphic. And I'm sitting there plugging my ears and closing my eyes, you know, while this movie's going on. And you still can hear it. And I'm like petrified. I mean, I think that's why I always wanted to make a horror movie that scared people, because, you know, because of that situation. But
Yeah.
I do, going back now, even though it traumatized me, I do really appreciate that film. But I think I like American Werewolf in London. And then there was uh, uh, American Werewolf in London, and then there was another one. There was another one that wasn't. It's not like a sequel or anything, but American Werewolf in Paris. That's what it was, I think. And I thought that was well done. It actually wasn't bad. It's not. It wasn't anything like, but I thought they did a really good.
Yeah, no, they were decent.
Yeah. So going back then, I kind of like those horror movies. As I said, you know, The Exorcist, I still can't watch that. That one just creeps me out. That was too well done. We actually watched one last night that was, it was called, and again, it's on Shutter, so you probably haven't seen it. But Kath and I were talking about it tonight. The Cleansing Hour. So
Oh, okay.
you should look for that. But he's uh the main character is a TV, uh not evangelist. He's an exorcist. He's a TV
Oh,
exorcist. So he
okay.
exorcises demons out of people
Through
on
the TV.
TV through, well, uh it's a show you watch, or like it's probably not a show as much as like a streaming show, or like a web series or something that you can watch, because people type in and, you know, and stuff like that. Anyway, it starts out really dorky because, you know, they're doing it fake. They're faking
Right.
everything, but they're trying to make it look real, and they have these followers, but they've kind of plateaued.
Yeah.
And then a real demon gets in there and possesses someone. This is the only thing I didn't really understand about the film. I don't know how they never really, unless I missed it. It might have been subtle, but they never show you how this person got possessed. You know, just she was fine, and then all of a sudden now she's a demon. And
Yeah.
anyway, it gets really good. You know, so it's kind of laughable because it's, you know, I think it's intentional that it's supposed to look like kind of, I don't want to say
Right.
bad acting because I think they did a really good job with it, but in the beginning, the acting's a little off, and you're kind of like, and I think it's supposed to be the build up to when it really shit gets real, and
Right.
and the woman that plays the the possessed woman, I thought did an amazing job with it. I thought it was really well done. So I think you'd like it. But yeah,
Yeah.
you should look for
I
that.
haven't seen a ton of modern horrors just because I got played out on them. Like I
Yeah,
found, like I went to go see Annabelle, and I just
yeah,
found them to be very lame. Like I just, so definitely went old school on these. Like for me, like Hellraiser, Halloween, I
yeah,
love those. Um, and again, I think the voicing and the music plays a big part in it. In Halloween, Donald Pleasant as the psychiatrist, the doctor for
yeah,
Mike Myers, is just his voice and everything. It's just so harrowing, and it puts you on edge, on suspense, just with his voice.
mhm,
Um, I loved them. But then again, also I get, well, it's not that new, but Blair Witch Project. A lot of people
yes,
hated. Other people loved it. I actually ended up loving it. I never saw it at the theater. I ended up seeing it on video, and watched it by myself in the dark, and actually found it to be, really cool. I really enjoyed it. But for me, my all-time favorite classic, the original, not the remake,
yeah,
Texas Chainsaw Massacre,
yeah,
because it just had everything. And at the time, it had that little blurb saying how this lady was found covered in blood in the back
yeah,
roads of Texas, and this is the story she babbled out before falling into a coma and never waking. So that just made it a whole new level of fright. You're like, oh man,
right,
there's people are out there somewhere.
yeah, 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 yeah,
And then it became known that it was an urban legend and blah blah blah. So it's lost a lot of its fear factor in that respect. But at the time when it came out and watching it back then was just it was terrifying. It was a lot of fun.
yeah. That was another one I hadn't seen. We'll have to try to watch that, especially right now we try to watch a lot of horror movies because we're getting toward close to Halloween. So
Yeah.
that definitely we'll have to try and watch. I know we talked about this last time too. Nightmare on Elm Street, the first one.
Yep.
I thought
Yep.
that one was really scary.
It was when we
As a
watched. I mean, we're what,
teenagers.
13,
Yeah,
13,
yeah,
14?
exactly. In the dark. I don't think your parents were home,
Nope. They were
and
out.
yeah, we were
My
watching
dog
it.
scared the hell out of
Yes,
us.
yes, because he gets under the blanket, and we were watching it, and he like
He
growled at us.
started to growl. We're like, what the hell is that?
Yeah,
Uh, Definitely. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I've seen, horrors here and there, the newer ones, and I just haven't. Although I did like the original Saw. I thought that was kind of
yes,
a new twist. I did enjoy
yes.
that.
The first one was good.
The first one, yes.
Yeah.
But
Did you see? I don't know what genre it's classified under, but did you see Escape Room?
no,
You would like it. I think it's pretty well. It's kind of action. It's kind of horror. It's along the lines of
I
Saw.
think I remember. Yes, I do. I remember the preview and stuff for it.
yeah,
Like watching an ad on it.
yeah. There's like a mastermind that's putting you through these puzzles, and they're
Yeah,
like, they'll kill you puzzles, not just hey, you
yeah.
got to try to escape this room. So
And
it was
it's like
well
a
done.
house, right? That they're in,
It's no, it's bigger than a house. It's like an office building. Yeah, it's
or
like an office.
warehouse or something. It's
Well,
all
there's
rigged up.
yeah, and there's different rooms that obviously
Right.
once they escape one, they get into another one. So
Yeah.
you're escaping more than just one room, and
Right.
it's yeah. I think you'd like it. You should look for it.
Yeah, I'll
Out
have
for
to
a
check it
while.
out. So Syfy.
That's an easy one.
So yeah, well, then this one too. It's funny because like Syfy blends a lot in the action adventure. Like there are
Yeah.
both that could have been either or.
Sure, it's the
But
fantasy part that kind of separates it.
yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah, no, for me it's Empire Strikes Back. It's just has always been my favorite, will always be. It's just the darkest of the original three, and I think, in my opinion, the best. But hey,
And I, contrary to you, like the first and third the best because I really appreciated the Jedis and the Yoda and R2D2 and 3PO, all the things that you could care less about.
Yeah, but Yoda was in the second one.
No. It's just I didn't dislike the second one at all. I liked the first and the third more because, like you said, it's kind of like the first one is, obviously I'm rooting for the good guy. And the first
Yeah.
one's, you want Luke to, this magical force thing, and you want him to save the day, and he does. And then the second one, like you said, is darker, and there's not really a saving of the day. It's the setting up of the plot, and giving you more to the story. And then the third one, you're back to him saving the day, So.
Right. Well, and I love the second one because it's that epic struggle. Because let's face it, even in the Heroes, nobody is all good.
Oh, exactly.
And nobody is all evil. So it was his battle, because within him, it could have either gone in later on in the books. It does go the other way, but
yeah. You've read the books. I got a couple of them that were, I forget which ones I have, but they're not in that. They're like spin-offs or whatever you want to call them.
Oh yeah. Well, they're calling them something else now. The movies are considered canon, and those are considered, what's the word they use? Legends. I think it's Legends of Star Wars.
Yep. Yeah, I think I have to dig them out once I can get to my books again. I'll have to dig them out and find which ones I have.
But yeah, so I think, is that it? Did we cover them all?
Yep, that's
all
it.
All right.
Yeah.
We made it through. Two-pack.
Hey, still recording. Go us.
Yeah. It better be recording.
Fourth one in, and we figured out how to keep the record button going.
All right, sir.
All right, too bad.
All right, stupid. Till the next time.
All right, talk to you later.
You got it. Bye.
Well, hope you enjoyed that little insight on what Chris and I have found our favorite movies to be in the different genres. Everything from comedy, action, adventure, drama, documentaries, suspense, thriller, horror, sci-fi, fantasy. And that last one, I knew we were going to be the same, even though he was going to pick Empire Strikes Back and I was going to pick the first one and New Hope and Return of the Jedi. So I knew we would differ on that, but I wasn't sure what he was going to pick for the rest of them. So it was interesting to see. We could have gone on for hours, but hopefully you enjoyed our picks and what we felt were the reasons why they were our top picks or honorable mentions.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, now I'm going to stop my video and I'm going to continue to talk and we'll see if it still just shows you.
That shouldn't be a problem.
Hey. He brought feisty with him today.
I'm just saying an intro shouldn't outlast the podcast. That's all I'm saying.
And it should be a little longer than, hi, watch this.
I thought it pretty much summed it up nicely. You don't want to give too much away.